like to introduce our first panel of the day, Innovations in Motion, the Future of Machinery and Logistics. And I'd like to welcome Nick Lojevic, Alain Kadoum, and Tobias Stromberg up to the stage now, and you can start off our panel. Okay, great. So maybe start by, Nick, you can give us a little bit of an introduction to yourself and your position in Combilift, please.
My name is Nick. I'm director for Combilift in Middle East and representing Irish manufacturer. So what we do is we build machines and we can lift almost any cargo up to 150 tons. We are the largest multi-directional forklift manufacturer, as well as articulated. And we're lucky enough to be part of almost all the industries, from warehousing, logistics, oil and gas manufacturing. And we'll be glad to discuss some topics today with Ryan.
Thank you very much, Nick. And Tobias, the same for yourself. You could give us a little bit of a brief introduction to you.
Good morning, my name is Tobias. I'm a senior partner at Roland Berger Strategy House. I've been there now for more than 2 decades, only ever working in the transport and logistics sector. Before I moved to the Middle East, started working in 2016. I was responsible for our global business for DHL. And after coming here, I'm leading the global urban logistics practice at Roland Berger. Working on adopting freight tech, publishing on that, data and logistics, and working both for logistics operators, but also for the verticals that look into their supply chains and bring the logistics know-how to them.
Last but not least, Alain, if you give us a brief introduction.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alain Kadoum, Managing Director of Savoie in the Middle East. What we do, simply we automate warehouses, but we also offer advanced software solutions for manual warehouse, up to fully automated warehouse. We automate boxes to pallets in the region for the past 10 years, and again, glad to be on this panel today. We make it simple. It's complex, but we make it simple.
Nick, if we can start with you, and what your vision is for the future of machinery and technology, and how you can incorporate technology into building a better future for the industry.
Okay, so from us, as Combilift, we invest roughly 7% of our revenues into R&D. So we have a lot of innovative products every year. So our main job is to optimize client operations, so which means that we try to move cargo, is it a pallet, is it a bulk load, in a smaller, more efficient way. So there is a big drive for sustainability, and advanced technology is really pushing us to implement this in different sectors. I'd say that we need to probably split in 2 categories. The industry is trying to optimize the existing solution. So if you have a basic truck, basic design, we're trying to implement maybe artificial intelligence to it. There's a lot of analytical systems which are trying to understand the operation. But on the other hand, what we are also focusing as Combilift is we are trying to build new concepts. We are trying to be a way completely different. So let's say in warehousing segment, probably allowing you to talk about, so you have a basic operation using machines, but then if you want to be completely different, you need to probably automate, right? So this is something which is a new segment. And we are trying to do similar concept in different industries. So how do you change operation with a client, with traditional, operation they are doing today, to something new, right? So we spend a lot of efforts to it, and advanced technology is really pushing to help us go there. We have different, systems which maybe we can talk about later on.
Going over to Alain next, then we're touching on that automation aspect. What motivates you to drive that automation for the industry and in warehousing specifically?
Well, if I go back to my beginning in the warehouse automation industry, so when I heard there is robotic and robots moving inside the warehouse, it was for me a bit insane. Seeing the warehouse is the dusty area, the backbone of the company, but no one is really looking into it. It's not the visible face of the company. How do you see technology there? And then more you go into deep into logistics, you understand that logistics is about repetitive actions, and repetitive is the sweet spot for automation. Automating whatever is repetitive, hard to do, non-value, because at the end of the day, the warehouse operation are moving items. It's also not the most attractive jobs, so it's not easy to find the right manpower for these activities. And that's why automation was really making sense. It was not only something nice to have or fancy, it became now a reality. And we can all imagine, I believe, to ask the question, who doesn't have a phone or smartphone? No one will say, I don't have. The same in the warehouse. We can't imagine anymore a warehouse without a piece of technology, either from a software or fully automated. So this is how we see the automation inside the logistic or the warehouse part. And what motivates is replacing the activities which are not beneficial for the company and focus maybe the manpower and the hiring on more value-added jobs like sales, customer representatives, and so on.
Tobias, coming on to you now. How do you see the evolution of machinery and logistics, and what trends are you kind of forecasting in the next couple of years coming down the line?
I think you have the right people on the panel here next to me. The two trends that are still there, they are more and more on offer. We also need to see about implementation, right? Is robotics and AI. So robotics in delivery. Look at Aramex last year with their pilot and drones and last mile delivery robots. In warehouse management, of course, Amazon does have 500,000 robots now that go on a grid and move shelves, right? The automated robots that also go around obstacles and humans are the next step. But how many of those next to showcase cases are we really seeing? Too many large warehouses without that yet. But also security. There's the European Parliament put out a study that in Europe there's 8 billion euros of cargo theft every year. A quarter of that is in warehouses. So when you go to the Museum of the Future and you go to the last store that you can see this 4-legged robot. If you equip that with video, some of you might also have seen Black Mirror. There's a threatening episode about that as well. When you equip that with sensors and video cameras, these robot dogs can walk stairs, they can walk uneven territory, and they go on a pre-route map through the warehouse or can be steered remotely. So that is, these things are coming. And the second thing is artificial intelligence. All equipment is always hardware and software, and over the past years, we've always focused on the hardware. Now, software also takes place. So we have drones that can replace workers that go on aerial platforms to do inventory management. Yes, now that we have these pictures, we can create digital twins, we can give full information to our clients on where the packages are. We can estimate at least how, through dimensioning how many packages are on the pallet in the shelf, etc., etc. So these things are coming. Then, of course, if you think about intelligent route optimization and better freight management and matching supply and demand all the way up to, maybe we come to that later, physical internet, that really would be the future topic. That is where it's leading. So maybe, when a consultant uses words, when you ask me about future trends and I say, well, yeah, it's robotics and it's AI, that is where we're working on, and that is where still a lot is to be had and what we need to keep on doing instead of finding new, more fancy things.
Nick, coming back to you then, what are some of the innovations Combilift are rolling out right now? Where are you focusing your attention, and how is that streamlining operations for logistics companies?
Okay, so Combilift is focusing always trying to build machines which can work in small spaces, right? So what we try to focus is that whenever we go to the industry, we try to understand how client is handling something, either being in warehouse, it could be heavy industry, being engineering, it could be precast construction. So we go there, we try to listen to a client, and then we try to build a machine which can work in a smaller space. We always try to increase safety and be more efficient. So one way I would say is try to build unique machines, or a bit different than what we know today. And as I mentioned, we invest 7% of our revenue into R&D. So because almost all our machines have this special feature that they can be multi-directional, right? So we are somehow experts handling long load, like pallets or anything beyond the pallet. So we developed different systems. For example, whenever you're changing orientation of the forklift driving around, it's like a floating, it's 360 motion. Recently, because sustainability is a big part of what we do, maybe to mention, we manufacture 10,000 units a year, and 70% of our manufacturing output is electric. So we focus as well to increase. So the main challenge today in the industry is that the warehousing equipment is well equipped with electrical propulsion. So all electrical machines, or even in automation, everything is electric. But how do you translate this into heavier machines? So we spend a lot of money into developing higher capacity machines, being more sustainable moving forward, which is, for example, oil and gas sector, which is very famous now, especially after COP28. And then the last part, I'd say, is we spend a lot of focus in data analytics. So all our fleet can be then monitored with our in-house built software, so that we can get details of, if client has multiple machines working in the yard, we can then analyze the process of which machine is working where and how much, and then we can feed back this to our client.
Come back to Alan now. What are some of Savoie's regional successes, and what is driving those successes here in the region? What machinery, what technology?
Yeah, so basically, when we speak about warehouse automation, by nature, it's innovative industry. We have to innovate. It's technology and automation. So to come on innovation bit, automation exists more than 40 years ago. So it's not new, maybe not very spread across the region, or even worldwide was not the case. So now we see the automation in the region growing. The latest implementation, for example, the trends in the region is about fulfillment, either e-commerce or retail fulfillment, the piece-picking or the preparation. What is driving? The volume is driving these projects. Also the diversity of SKUs and the handling of B2B and B2C within the same warehouse. It's making it complex, and shortage of manpower also, especially in KSA, is pushing the customers to think about automation. And now we are implementing that one big fulfillment center for iHub account in KSA. They're entering the market and they want to build a fully automated warehouse. So we see that the region is now embracing or adopting automation more than before. And it's not only about the automation side. We always focus on the automation because maybe the piece which is the most appealing, we can see it, and the robots are nice to see, but as we mentioned before, the software is the key in these projects, because nowadays the robots, as I said, they exist since 40 years. But why now today is more popular? Because we know how to control them better, we know how to use them better, and they know how to take part of the decision by themselves. So it's much more flexible for the customer to implement automation. You mentioned flexibility in the machinery, moving left, right, narrower or smaller machines. So this is today making the innovation that happened maybe 40 years back more available and applicable. And that's why also in the region we see automation becoming more and more available, either in KSA or UAE.
Tobias, on to you now. What are some of the technologies that Roland Berger are using to help logistics companies streamline their operations?
Nothing you can touch. Contrary to my co-panelists. So we work a lot with data with our clients. We have recently done a study here across the Middle East on data-driven decision making. We found that only 20% of our respondents say that they put the data at the heart of it. 80% say, well, we take a look at the data we have and then we try to derive some decisions, instead of the other way around, saying, okay, what is it that I actually need to decide, and what kind of data would I need, and how could I get it to then take the right decision? So we're helping, we have such a data ladder. We're helping companies to go from data literate organizations to data literate organizations, to organizations that see data as an asset, and then to organizations that actually are performing data-driven logistics, data-driven decision making. So four very distinct steps and quite a way to go, especially here in the Middle East. And we're working quite a lot around artificial intelligence, have been for years now. Just I think 2 weeks ago, we formalized our collaboration with Microsoft in the region. And we have a database across 15 business functions with 200 use cases, 25 of them around supply chain management that we're using. Let me give you an example so you see what we do. We have worked for a rubber company, and it's extremely important for these companies to understand in which way their clients go, construction, industry, plant engineering, etc. And if sales and development don't understand that, then the wrong supply chains are being built. And that is what happened with that company again and again over the past 20 years. So we built an artificial intelligence engine to understand with all different kinds of structured and unstructured data how their client industries would develop. And it was nice to see at the end of the last decade that the performance moved up 10 to 50%, depending on what you measure, versus what their planners were doing. And then COVID hit. And within 3 weeks, based on the 2008 crisis, that tool was able to accurately predict how their clients' industries were going to move through this next crisis, and they could react immediately and build the right supply chains and came out of COVID very, very successfully. So that's one example, hands-on, how you can use AI. It's not in the development stage. There's very clear use cases that you can use, and of course also then in the environment that we're talking about today, if you connected, as I said before, you connect, for example, with drones, which I think is one of your favorite things.
Yeah. Nick, then coming back to you, can you talk to us a little bit about some of the challenges in the region specifically of implementing new machinery? That's something like, people find it difficult to adapt to change sometimes, and what's your experience with that?
Yeah, so we at Combilift always try to be different. We try to be different. We are not manufacturing machines, and we don't build big production lines. Our manufacturing plant is not even fully autonomous or automated, so we don't use robots, for example. But so we build a lot of bespoke trucks. So whenever you come to a client and you listen to the process, they're moving some cargo, let's say, for the past 20 years, 30 years, and they're very efficient in what they do. So the challenge is first, how you convince them that there is another way to do it, and how quickly you can make them confident that what you're proposing will work. So how we do that, we have a strong team as a manufacturer locally. We work through local partners, and we will take care of trying to explain the benefits of the change. We bring maybe to different other sites to try to show them how the process works. And then another thing is that how you convince the management on the spending, because usually the new products are probably more expensive than what they're using now. So you have somehow two challenges. You have operational challenge and you have investment challenge. And you need to somehow then satisfy both parties. So we do spend a lot of efforts, traveling around with the client and trying to bring them to different sites, talk to them. We have a very strong engineering team where our engineers are trying to animate, things how operation will go. So I'd say these two challenges are the hardest to overcome, but we managed so far with the efforts we have in place to be quite successful.
Alan, the same question for you then. From your experience, what are some of the challenges being here in the region?
Well, the challenges, I would put them in 3 categories. So first, the management and the company culture. So how can we convince the company to change from what they are traditionally used to do, and we are used to do it in this way, to a completely way around? Because in the automation, the core idea is goods to man principle. So instead of going to the shelf and pick and prepare the order or bring the pallet will come to you or the bin will come to you. So explaining to the logistic manager that you have to change the way of working and the goods will come to you. You have to trust the machine that will bring the right item to you at the right time. So this is the first challenge. And once he's convinced, you have what we call an ambassador in the company sponsoring the automation in the company and goes to the level above. Maybe first, let's say the IT team or the IT director. He has to integrate new software because machines doesn't work alone. We are talking about the software just before. He has to integrate, he has to change some processes, how they are doing it, connecting the system together, checking if the infrastructure is ready to accommodate this new technology. So there is a IT part or technological part that the step has to be also passed inside the company to make sure that logistics director is buying in, the IT department is also happy to support, and goes to the financial, the third part, which is also convincing the C-level about the investment. It's always a high capex. Unfortunately today, I would say unfortunately because we are always seeking a way of financing the project or making a robot as a lease, which didn't happen yet in the market. We don't have this offering from us and the competition, if I may say, but it's still a heavy capex project. And convincing them that you invest today, but these machines last for 20, 30 years even, if you maintain them well, and then the ROI is 3 to 5 years, or let's say 7 years if it is a bigger pilot project. And here, them trusting that this machine that I'm investing in today will make me profit in the future is also a third challenge that we face. And where we also try to also bring some clarity about the ROO, return on objective. So regardless of the ROI and the cost, is what other benefit you are getting, because today you are not seeing them, but with automation you will get them. Safety, for instance. Maybe it's against the machinery industry, but here we have unmanned warehouse. All the movements are happening in a safe zone, so people and machines are not interacting in the working area. So there's a handover point, if I may say. So it's safer for the operation. Security, the thefts. I don't remember who mentioned the example, but this was also what we promoted. When you have automated warehouse, you have a better inventory management. You know who is doing what in the warehouse, so we can bring down to the transaction which happened 5 years back, if you have the database, who did this transaction on this SKU, on this product at that time. You can connect it to the CCTV, so you can also go back in time and check what happens. Is it a mistake, someone took an item? So there's a lot of added value, and depending on the industry. So when you talk about pharma industry or even the cash industry, the banking, you see the vault automation is also a topic important for them. So if you lose a parcel or say a box of cash, I believe it's very critical compared to losing a box of apparel or clothes. So the objectives are different. The ROI will be the same, but the objectives are completely different. And of course, convincing a bank to automate, they will come to you, they want to automate normally. So compared to a retailer where the cost of inventory is not so high, but the speed is more important, and telling them the error of handling is less with automation. So if you want, this are the challenges for us. So the change of mindset, the IT readiness of the company, or the IT readiness, and also the challenge of investment, the cost of automation.
Okay, great. And Tobias, you mentioned earlier the role of data-driven decision making. Would you see that as one of the major challenges for companies adopting new machinery and technology, or where do you see that?
So when you think about the strategy before the investments are being made, I have the same discussions every week. You know, do we need to spend this money? Should we spend this money? Is the ROI there? And that you present a use case. But that's not me, right? That's not. And for me, the main challenge is with the people before the investment, right? I think that you will be able to convince the logisticians in the warehouse, you know, when you show them, when you bring them to your showcase places, when you even show them the video, they can't get it. This is cool, right? But when you talk about the markets with the strategists, too often there's just not enough visibility. This did a market study 5 years ago, or 5 years ago. That was before COVID. That was before the logistics industry has been really discovered in the case A, for example. So a lot of things have been changing since then. You need to in depth and regularly understand really what your market is. Secondly, and you mentioned this, there's a capability gap. So if we now want to understand how to deal with big data, how to deal with complex environments, changing environments, you need people who understand technology and how technology can be used so that you can speak with the players out in the market and demand and request solutions that they can then think about. If you don't understand this yourself, if you lived in the world of 20 years ago, even 5 years ago, then that's an issue. And thirdly, if I look at corporate strategies, I'm usually being sent a document of 50 pages, and I leaf through that and say, where's the technology strategy? So if you don't have that, then it's very difficult within a short project and trying to get into the next generation to actually go places, because we don't like to produce the next 50-pager. We like to end up at the end of the project with one of these guys walking through and saying, okay, let's go, right? And for this, you need to understand what your strategy and technology is. Too often we don't find that.
Great. Nick, coming back to you then, you mentioned earlier the importance of the team having an engineering background. What do you think are the future skills that Combilift are looking for in their workforce, and how do you develop those skills in the labor force?
So moving forward, probably, we as manufacturers, we still try to build machines which are quite simple. We don't want to overcomplicate them, because there is always transition between the old and the new. So I'd say for our industry, probably a bit maybe more analytical approach would lack currently, because the industry is like the warehousing, which is very well developed, right? So especially automation, you have all the data and so on. But if you move, I'd say, to heavy industry, which is outside the warehouses, it's still quite basic. So probably in the future, where we are going into the direction of AGVs and so on, so probably we'll have the same shift of maybe more analytical approach. Maybe not so. I'd say today we are in the machinery business. There is a lot of dependency on the how the operator will operate some machine, moving around. So this will stay in the industry. I see it for the next few years. But then later on, if we manage to go into automation as well outside the warehousing, definitely more IT, stuff will come to support operation that segment.
And obviously, keeping the end consumer happy is an important part of logistics. How does machinery and technology contribute to that? How does it streamline so that customers, are happy with what the service they receive?
I'll start from where you ended about the visibility. So, and this is maybe the first challenge, which also we have to address to make our customers happy. So, the visibility for us, meaning if there is no visibility, meaning full flexibility for the solution we are implementing, scalability and modularity. Because if you don't know where exactly you are in 5 years, you cannot build a rigid solution from day one. So, for us, the automation we think about it or today are being presented in the market, in the region and globally, is based on more modular solution, robotic solution, allowing the customer trusting that this machine will grow with them, will evolve with them, in terms of not the machine itself, but the solution itself can be modular and flexible in the future. And what's make the customer happy for us is the KPIs at the end of the day, when they see that the fulfillment rate or error in fulfillment goes closer to zero, to not say 0%, there is no perfect zero at the end of the day. This is where they see the benefit of having his end customer happy, because at the end of the day, it's a chain. If you wrongly fulfill items or wrongly pack the item and goes to the end customer, and the customer nowadays has access to social media, and you make a small comment, it will give a bad image on the company. So basically, the satisfaction that we give to our customer, that the accuracy in the fulfillment, it gives also satisfaction of the operator inside the warehouse, because also we forget the people sometimes working inside the warehouse, working with technology for them is a driver also for their career, showing it on their CVs. They will be more attractive. They'll be more attracting or attracted by working in an automated warehouse than in a manual where you have like let's say, heavy lifting and some hard work inside the warehouse. So satisfaction goes from the operator to the customer, seeing the benefit of the automation, but most important to the end customer, enhancing his experience in terms of accuracy, but also the packaging. I spoke about it. Nowadays, the automation not only limited to the storage and picking, but also how I do a nice packing. The customers, for example, we have a customer in Europe. He is a 3PL and he has to fulfill for different brands, and he wants to be consistent in the cost, having the carton used for all the customers. So he has a solution where the carton will be shaped at the same size of the item, so less space left or empty space in the carton, so better for his delivery costs. He can also maintain the cost. At the same time, he can automatically print nice logos with nice graphics on the carton, so make it customized per customer. So you have 3PL fulfilling for different brands, so every brand will have his own logo and or own stuff to print on the carton. So in this way, you are making a customer, our direct customer, happy because he is maintaining his cost, but his customer is also happy because they are also getting better fulfillment rates, better transportation rate, and the customer is very happy because you can also customize by putting a specific message on it, saying it's a Valentine time. You can customize by making the order to print a specific message for the people receiving the item. So this is how we see the experience enhancement as the main satisfaction aspect.
Tobias, and speaking about some of the benefits that automation and machinery can bring, from your experience, what are the key benefits that are found for companies that you work with? Is it cost savings? Is it?
It's very straightforward. So until half my career, like 10 years ago, this was about cost. Period. So ROI, you bring a robot, you bring partial automation, full automation. What does that reduce cost? Now, internal, yes, although we don't see it measured so much, it's more on the anecdotal basis and the convincing of the managers in the warehouse that this makes sense, and probably one should measure on a large scale, also health and safety much more. We do measure customer satisfaction, you talked about that, also a way of NPS scores, just to really see as scientifically as possible, and then also be able to market that, obviously, how these scores go up. And not just since COP28, sustainability is a huge topic. You talked about it in the beginning, also for large machinery, electrification of fleets, which is a bit in the future for this region. In some countries, it's difficult to even get electric vehicles across the border. Regulation is not the best friend everywhere in this region. You cannot just snap your finger and electrify your fleet because you don't have the supply available here. But we're getting there, we're discussing it, we're getting there. So sustainability is also a huge topic around logistics that we're following up and measuring.
Okay, great. I'd like to open the floor to any questions that anybody might have for any of the panelists.
Thank you so much for the panel. It's very nice and interesting. We come from Emirates both. We're both industrial engineers as well, so it's really nice listening to that. But since we're from the postal world, where do you think it's heading? Like, we're seeing so many transitions of where we work. It's more towards the e-commerce. But where do you think in the region the postal services is going to go long term?
Postal services in the region are about parcels. That's true. I think looking at the competition that the legacy players are having, it's important to go there also in the next generation in terms of customer satisfaction and implementing new technologies to take that step. I know that Emirates Post is working hard on that and also making strides in that change process. And when I also look across the region at other players, the competition is fierce. And it is not only coming from global players who have been around and take a certain part of the market share. In the KSA, before COVID, there were 5 licensees, or was it 7? A one-digit number of licensees for last mile delivery. Now there's over 100. So everybody is investing, sees their last chance of actually really doing that now, trying to grab a certain part of the market. And if a postal player doesn't get to the very top of quality, visibility, no loss, no damage, all of the basics, if they're not at the top, then they're going to lose a lot of market share. So I think that is what the focus needs to be, honestly. And the second thing is, especially the legacy players have a huge opportunity in using their assets in certain parts, the brand, and in other parts, that everybody knows them. In other parts, the network that they have, both operationally and in terms of customer touchpoint, and the fact that they're able to touch so many households every day to find new services that they would be offering. This diversification topic and going into adjacent markets has been a topic for a long time. And many also large postal players have failed in doing this. But there's intelligent strategies and very good benchmarks on where this has actually worked. And by the way, logistics is an important part of that.
It's a very interesting topic. So basically, especially for the preparation part, fulfillment part, especially in the postal industry, we see now more robotic sortation is introduced, more affordable also robotic sortation compared to maybe the traditional sorting activities. But parcel is also about how connecting items, collecting items, and distributing to the household. So being fast in sorting the items is a key, but also being fast in delivering it. So make sure that the delivery time is short. This is also the challenge. Maybe if you remember 10, 15 years back, it was about 1 week to 10 days to get the parcel from one country to the other, which is today maybe a couple of days, or it could be the same day as well, because of all the supply chain every piece of it is getting faster and accurate. So fast in receiving, fast in sorting, fast in delivering, how we can deliver fast, optimize routing, making it optimal way to reach the end user. So I believe the parcel and the posting industry, they have to adopt technology. I always take the example of the food applications. It started by a platform connecting restaurants with the people. Now we see they have last mile delivery system. They have also their own personal delivery, meaning you have to book a parcel to go from point A to point B. You call a small driver, he will come collect from your house to the office. So these extra services, and even now it's like not financing, like it's a kind of a banking platform. You can go for a party or a barbecue, and then you split the money on this application. So, and this is not at all related to the food industry anymore. So the diversity of the application, the possibility that you can drive, makes it a hub where the customers will be attracted to partner with you, because it's not only the posting service, they are offering more services, which is interesting for the customers to also take on the way.
Thank you so much.
Maybe just from my side, maybe Everest Post is not the perfect client for us, but through the years, you're not shipping only envelopes anymore. So I know you're also working through Mark Hub application, which you can ship almost any cargo through Emirates Post. So we as a manufacturer are usually challenged to a bigger, I'd say, objects than a cargo. Let's say you want to ship the TV, you want to ship Zofa, if you like, so a bit bigger. So we are somehow pushed at the back. How we can do that in the warehouses faster? How can this process be faster, more economical, cheaper? Maybe if you need to ship some country-to-country cargo, so how we can provide a solution maybe to load, offload containers faster. So this is where we are coming in, trying to support Emirates Post industry in a way.
Yeah, thank you so much. It has been a challenge changing from because now we're merging both parcels and e-commerce products, and of course the size of the shipments makes the biggest difference. Like we're used to standard sizing, but now the shift to bigger or not standardized size is the challenge.
I think this is maybe a challenge for automation, correct me if I'm wrong, because automation, let's say if you want to automate the process, you need big volume, which you definitely have, but the challenge is that you don't know what tomorrow I'm ordering. Is it a Zofa TV? So this is usually where we come in as bespoke manufacturer. So we try to see what's your challenge, and then around that we try to help you with, either suggesting something which is used in the States, or we develop something new which will help you be faster and more efficient, that you can deliver loads or order tomorrow to us.
Thank you so much.
We get a big round of applause for our panelists.